This is the Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski.
Welcome back to our dramatic reading of Chad Daybell's love letters to Lori Vallow. All sent via text in one day, by the way. Quite a text storm. We now continue with part 4 of our dramatic reading, picking up where we left off. Here we go. James was having visions. In Jerusalem, James and Elena had enjoyed tremendous intimacy. Their physical desire for each other was unmatched. And they were fortunate that they could be alone morning, noon, and night. And they seized every chance to passionately express their love to each other. They simply could not get enough, even after many years of marriage. Everyone knew they were crazy about each other. And they were a wonderful example of how spouses should cleave together in love and unity. James had visions of how they would happily and joyfully pleasure each other in his office. They had two favorite positions that particularly bonded them together. Nothing meant more to James than holding Elena in his arms and unifying their bodies in perfect synchronization. As James and Elena talked on the phone, he tried to describe their connection to each other, and he was delighted that she believed him. He also shared that they had been married other times in a previous world, and she accepted that information as well. James was overjoyed to have these memories restored to him because he truly loved her with all his heart. He knew they were meant to be married again and complete important missions together before the second coming. He was ecstatic that she was receiving confirmation of these things as well. As they talked on the phone, the spiritual connection was so intense that it also produced physical desires. And it was as if their spirits were making love despite the great distance between them. James knew his spirit was visiting her during those conversations. He also became aware that his spirit would visit her at night, and they would wrap around each other in a sensual embrace. Kissing each other was so wonderful and real, and he knew that the next time they saw each other, he needed to kiss her. He wouldn't be able to resist holding her. He was absolutely in love with her in every way. By the time the conference arrived, James and Elena had become very close through their phone conversations, but he desperately needed to see her again. She agreed to pick him up at the airport and take him to his hotel. He was extremely nervous, worried that the spark they had felt earlier might not be there. But as she arrived at the airport and he opened the car door, his heart nearly burst at the sight of her smile. She was stunningly gorgeous, and as they gripped each other's hands, the electricity was tangible. The love between them was powerful and real. The hotel was only a short distance away, and he invited her into the room. They were soon standing alone in the room, and he put his arm around her and looked into her gorgeous blue eyes. They hungered for each other. And he leaned forward and fulfilled a promise he had made to her a few days earlier. He gently kissed her tender lips, and the same heavenly electricity filled his entire body. The passion and magic they had felt many centuries earlier came surging back powerfully. James moved to the couch, and Elena straddled him effortlessly, as if they had done this thousands of times before. She fit perfectly on him, and they pressed their loins tightly against each other. The feeling was exquisite, and they both smiled and moaned at the sensations passing between them. They were still fully clothed, but the intensity of the intimacy was undeniable. James felt a powerful desire to bless Elena at that time. As they stayed in that favorite position, he moved his hands to her head and began to cleanse and purify each part of her body. He could feel the pains and troubles she had endured through her life being removed from her soul and being taken outside and destroyed. James' hands worked their way down her body and lingered briefly on her beautiful breasts. He truly had the body, or she truly had the body of a goddess. And he was experiencing an indescribable mix of physical and spiritual ecstasy. He soon concluded the cleansing of her body from head to toe, and then filled her body with a balm of light and love. Is that what the kids are calling it now? A balm of light and love. A balm. I never think of it as a balm. If it's coming out as a balm, Chad, you may want to see a doctor. Chad could see the happiness in her eyes, and instinctively, their mouths came together again. The fire was burning strongly within them both, and as their kissing grew more intense, he gently said, "I love you, Elena." Those words sparked a frenzy within them. Their tongues effortlessly entwined, and their hips gyrated in a smooth, erotic rhythm. Two lovers, long separated, were finally united in heavenly bliss. After a few minutes of excitement, pleasure, and fun on the couch, James and Elena both felt compelled to change into more comfortable clothing. After a few minutes, mind you. James out in some athletic shorts and a blue shirt, and Elena put on a stunning black top and tight leggings. The top revealed just enough, but not too much, and James was overjoyed at the sight. Almost so much that balm came out again. I'm good. I added that part. James took her in his arms, and they smiled at each other. The vibration in the room was intense, and their hearts reached out to each other in a glorious reunion. James gently touched the side of Elena's breasts, and he was in ecstasy. She stood on her tiptoes and gave him a sensual kiss that sent electricity through his body. They moved toward the bed and were quickly entwined around each other. She was so beautiful, loving, and enchanting that James could hardly breathe. They were both aroused, but knew there were limitations on what could occur that night. But they kissed for nearly an hour and pressed against each other tightly. Towards the end of the evening, Elena lawed on her stomach. Lawed, yep, that's what it says. At the end of the bed. And James caressed her fabulous body. He grasped her perfect bottom with both hands, and she expressed how much she loved that. She soon sat up and straddled him again as they passionately kissed farewell. They knew they would see each other again in the morning, but the separation seemed just too long. But they knew that the long wait to find their eternal match had come to an end, and James was overjoyed beyond description. But wait, there's more. More to the love letters or texts sent by Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. Texts that clearly would seduce almost anyone who received them. So be careful, kids, that you don't fall into Chad's magnetic trap. You might get some balm on you. Nobody likes balm. Press subscribe so you don't miss the continuation of the story, as it does continue quite a ways. My name's Tony Brueski. Stay with us.